The coffee maker gurgled like a dying animal at 5:47 a.m., same as every morning for the past 6 months. I stood there in my boxers and yesterday's t-shirt, watching the brown liquid drip into the pot while my wife Angela pretended to sleep upstairs. She wasn't sleeping, I could tell by the way she breathed, too controlled, too even. Real sleep has rhythm. Fake sleep has performance anxiety. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name is Nate Carter, I'm 38 years old, and I fix air conditioners for a living. Not glamorous, but honest work. These days, I felt like I needed fixing myself, but there's no manual for a marriage that's gone colder than a broken HVAC unit in January. Morning, sunshine, I muttered to the empty kitchen, stirring sugar into my mug. The spoon clinked against ceramic, the only sound in a house that used to have laughter. 6 months ago, Angela stopped touching me. Not just intimacy, though that dried up faster than antifreeze in a cracked radiator. I'm talking about everything. No casual hand on my shoulder when she passed behind my chair, no quick kiss goodbye, no absent-minded finger tracing on my arm while we watched TV. One day we were married, the next day we were roommates with a shared mortgage. I'd tried everything, flowers, dinners out, fixing that squeaky hinge on the bathroom door she'd complained about for 2 years. Nothing. Every night, I'd roll toward her side of the bed, and she'd somehow sense it coming. Not tonight, Nate. I'm exhausted. Can we just talk then? I need to sleep. Work tomorrow. Angela managed HR at a mid-sized insurance company downtown. She was good at her job, organized, efficient, professional. She brought those same qualities home, turning our marriage into a well-managed business relationship where intimacy was an unnecessary expense that got cut from the budget. The worst part? I was starting to believe it was my fault. Maybe I was too needy. Maybe I pushed too hard. Maybe fixing air conditioners for 12 hours a day made me boring dinner conversation. Maybe. My phone buzzed on the counter. Text from my buddy Marco, who owned the auto shop 3 blocks over. Coffee later? You look like hell lately. I typed back, can't look worse than I feel. That bad? Imagine your favorite car, but the engine's shot and the owner won't let you fix it. Ouch. 2 p.m. at Murphy's? Deal. I finished my coffee and headed upstairs to shower. Angela was in the bathroom, door locked. Of course. I waited 15 minutes, then knocked. Almost done, she called out. 20 minutes later, she emerged in her bathrobe, hair wrapped in a towel, not making eye contact. Morning, I said. Morning, I'm late. She brushed past me like I was furniture. In the shower, I let the hot water beat against my neck and tried to remember the last time my wife had looked at me, really looked at me, like she was happy to see me. Christmas, Thanksgiving, our anniversary in March, when she'd given me a card that said, "To my husband," and signed it, "Love Angela," like she was addressing mail. I was toweling off when I heard voices downstairs. Angela's laugh, genuine laughter, the kind I hadn't heard in months. I dressed quickly and found her at the kitchen table with Kate Wallace, her best friend since college. Kate was everything Angela wasn't these days. Warm, animated, present. She had auburn hair that caught morning light and green eyes that actually looked at you when you spoke. She was also married to Ed, a decent guy who sold insurance and coached Little League on weekends. Hey, Nate, Kate smiled, and I felt something I hadn't felt in half a year, noticed. Morning, Kate. Early visit today? Girl talk, Angela said, suddenly bright and energetic. Kate's having issues with Ed. Kate rolled her eyes. He's not issues. He's just predictable. Same routine every day, same conversations, same everything. I poured myself another coffee, thinking that predictable sounded pretty good compared to invisible. Men, Angela said, and they both laughed. I was standing right there. Some men, Kate corrected, glancing at me. Some men pay attention to what their wives need. Angela's smile flickered. I should get ready for work. She disappeared upstairs, leaving Kate and me alone in the suddenly quiet kitchen. Kate stirred her coffee slowly, thoughtfully. She talks about you, you know, she said. Good things, I hope. Kate tilted her head. Complicated things. She says you've been distant lately. I nearly choked on my coffee. Distant. Her word, not mine. Kate's eyes met mine. But between you and me, I think she's projecting. What do you mean? I mean, I've watched you two together. I see how you look at her, Nate, like she hung the moon. And I see how she looks everywhere else. Kate leaned forward. That would drive me crazy. My heart did something weird in my chest. When was the last time someone had seen me? Really seen me? It's complicated, I said, echoing Angela's apparent assessment. Doesn't have to be. Kate's voice was soft. Some of us know a good thing when we see it. Footsteps on the stairs. Kate sat back, smiling innocently as Angela returned, dressed for work in her armor of professionalism. Ready? Angela asked Kate. Always. Kate stood, then turned to me. See you around, Nate. Take care of yourself. After they left, I sat in the empty kitchen, replaying that conversation. Kate's words echoed. Some of us know a good thing when we see it. I was still thinking about it 3 hours later, crawling through Mrs. Peterson's attic to replace her ancient ductwork. My phone buzzed, text from an unknown number. This is Kate. Got your number from Angela's phone. Hope that's okay. Coffee sometime. Just us? You seem like you could use a friend. I stared at the message for 5 minutes, crouched in that sweltering attic, sweat dripping onto my phone screen. A friend. When was the last time I'd had one of those? Marco was great, but we mostly talked about work and sports. This felt different, dangerous, necessary. I typed, "Coffee sounds good." Her response came immediately. "Tomorrow, 10 a.m. at the diner on 5th Street?" "See you there." I deleted the conversation and finished Mrs. Peterson's ductwork, but my hands were shaking. Not from the heat or the cramped space, but from something I'd almost forgotten existed. Anticipation. That night, Angela came home at 6:30, same as always. Microwaved leftovers, same as always. Sat on the couch with her laptop, same as always. I tried to start a conversation about her day, about anything, but got one-word answers and distracted nods. At 9 p.m., she announced she was going to bed. "It's early," I said. "Long day tomorrow." "Angela, can we talk? Really talk?" She paused at the foot of the stairs. "About what?" "About us. About how we used to be. About what happened to us." "Nothing happened to us, Nate. People change. Relationships evolve." "Into what?" "We're like strangers." She sighed. That patient, condescending sigh I'd come to dread. "You're being dramatic. We're fine." "Are we? When's the last time we had a real conversation? When's the last time you touched me?" "I'm not in the mood for this conversation." "You're never in the mood for anything anymore." Angela's jaw tightened. "Maybe if you weren't so needy all the time, I wouldn't feel so pressured." The words hit like a slap. Needy. There it was. The thing I'd been afraid she was thinking, confirmed. Wanting to connect with my wife makes me needy? Wanting it constantly makes you exhausting. She turned and walked upstairs. I sat on the couch for 2 hours, staring at nothing, feeling like I was drowning in my own house. My phone buzzed. Kate again. "Can't sleep. Thinking about our conversation this morning. You deserve better than being made to feel like wanting love is a character flaw." I stared at the message until the screen went dark, then typed back, "How did you know?" "Because I've been watching, and because some of us pay attention." "See you tomorrow at 10? "Can't wait." I went to bed at midnight. Angela was asleep, or pretending to be. I lay there in the dark, listening to her controlled breathing, and for the first time in 6 months, I felt something other than rejection and confusion. I felt possibility. The diner on 5th Street smelled like bacon grease and regret, which seemed appropriate for what I was about to do. I arrived at 9:55 a.m., 5 minutes early because that's who I am. The guy who shows up when he says he will, fixes what's broken, keeps his word. Fat lot of good it had done me. Kate was already there, sitting in a corner booth, wearing jeans and a green sweater that matched her eyes. She looked up when I walked in, and her face lit up with genuine pleasure. When was the last time anyone had looked happy to see me? "You came?" she said as I slid into the booth across from her. "Said I would." Not everyone keeps their promises these days. She stirred sugar into her coffee. "How are you doing, Nate? Really doing?" The question caught me off guard. Not "how are you?" like a pleasantry, but how was I really doing, like she actually wanted to know. "Honestly, I feel like I'm disappearing," I said, "like I'm becoming invisible in my own life." Kate nodded. "I get that. Ed hasn't really looked at me in 2 years. I could probably dye my hair purple and he wouldn't notice until someone else pointed it out. But you two seem happy. We seem a lot of things. Doesn't make them true." She leaned forward. "Can I ask you something personal?" "Shoot." "When's the last time Angela made you feel wanted? Not needed, not obligated to, but actually wanted?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. "I honestly can't remember." "That's not a marriage, Nate. That's a business arrangement." The waitress came by. I ordered coffee and eggs. Kate got pancakes. We talked about everything and nothing: work, movies, books, childhood stories. Kate actually listened when I spoke. She asked follow-up questions. She laughed at my jokes, even the bad ones. "You're funny," she said. "I'd forgotten that about you." "Angela doesn't think so." "Angela's an idiot." The words came out sharp, surprising us both. Kate blushed. "Sorry, I shouldn't have said that." "But you did. Why?" Kate was quiet for a long moment, tracing patterns in the condensation on her water glass. "Because I've watched her take you for granted for years, and I've watched you just accept it, like you don't deserve better." "Maybe I don't." "Stop that." Kate's voice was firm. "Don't let her convince you that wanting affection makes you needy. That's emotional abuse, Nate." The words hit me like cold water. Emotional abuse. I'd never thought of it that way, but hearing it out loud... "She says I'm too demanding." "What do you demand? That she acknowledge your existence? That she treat you like a husband instead of a roommate? Those aren't demands. They're basic human needs." We sat in comfortable silence for a while, eating our breakfast. It felt normal, natural, like something I'd been missing without knowing it. "I should probably get going," I said finally. "Got a service call at noon." "Of course. Thanks for meeting me. I needed this." "Me too." In the parking lot, Kate touched my arm. Just a brief contact, her hand on my forearm, but it sent electricity through my entire body. "Same time next week?" she asked. "I'd like that." "Me too." I drove to my service call, a broken compressor at a law office, but my mind wasn't on the work. I kept thinking about Kate's laugh, the way she'd listened, the warmth in her eyes, the way her touch had made me feel human again. That night, Angela came home with takeout Chinese food and ate it while scrolling through her phone. I tried to tell her about my day, about Mrs. Chen's ancient furnace and the weird noise in the Hendersons' ductwork, but she made distracted sounds without looking up. "How was your day?" I asked. "Fine." "Anything interesting happen?" "Not really." "Kate seemed nice this morning." That got her attention. "When did you see Kate?" "She was here when I came downstairs. You two were having coffee." "Oh, right." Angela went back to her phone. The next week I met Kate again. Same diner, same booth, but this time the conversation went deeper. She told me about her marriage, how Ed had stopped seeing her as anything but a fixture in his life. I told her about the loneliness, about feeling like a ghost in my own house. "It doesn't have to be this way," Kate said. "Some people would appreciate what you have to offer." "Like who?" She met my eyes. "Like me." The air between us shifted, charged, dangerous. "Kate." I know it's complicated. But Nate, life's too short to spend it feeling unwanted." That afternoon, I couldn't concentrate on work. Marco noticed. "You're either having the best day of your life or the worst," he said, watching me fumble with a simple belt replacement. "Which is it?" "I don't know yet." "Woman trouble?" I laughed bitterly. "Woman troubles, plural." "Ah," Marco nodded sagely. "The wife still giving you the cold shoulder?" "Colder than a broken AC in August." "And there's someone else warming you up." I looked at him sharply. "How did you—" "Brother, I've been married 23 years. I know the signs. You got that look." "What look?" "Like you're alive again. Just be careful, man. These things can get messy fast." That night, Angela went to bed early again. "Tired," she said, like always. I stayed up, staring at my phone, Kate's number highlighted in my contacts. Finally, I texted, "Can't stop thinking about what you said today." Her response came within minutes. "Which part?" "The part about some people appreciating what I have to offer." "I meant every word." "This is dangerous territory, Kate. The most worthwhile things usually are." I stared at that message for 10 minutes, then typed, "Want to get dinner tomorrow? Somewhere we can really talk?" "Yes, absolutely yes." The next evening, I told Angela I was having dinner with Marco. She barely looked up from her laptop. "Okay, I'll probably be in bed when you get back. Early meeting tomorrow." I met Kate at a small Italian restaurant across town, somewhere we were unlikely to run into anyone we knew. She wore a blue dress that brought out her eyes, and for the first time in months, I felt like a man instead of a piece of furniture. "You look beautiful," I said. She blushed. "Thank you. You clean up pretty well yourself." Over wine and pasta, we talked about everything, our dreams, our disappointments, our fears. Kate had wanted to be a teacher but ended up in marketing. I'd wanted to start my own HVAC company but never found the courage to leave the security of working for someone else. "It's not too late," Kate said. "For either of us." "For what?" "For the lives we actually want." After dinner, we walked to her car. The parking lot was dimly lit. Quiet. Kate turned to face me. Nate, I need to say something. Okay. I think about you more than I should, more than is appropriate for a married woman thinking about her best friend's husband. My heart hammered against my ribs. Kate, I know it's wrong. I know it's complicated. But I can't pretend anymore that these feelings don't exist. She stepped closer. I could smell her perfume, see the flecks of gold in her green eyes. If you were mine, she whispered, you'd never feel unwanted. You'd never have to beg for attention or affection. You'd never have to wonder if you mattered. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. Her hand found my chest, right over my heart. The question is, do you? I should have stepped back, should have said goodnight and driven home to my cold bed and my distant wife, should have done the right thing. Instead, I kissed her. It was soft at first, tentative, like we were both afraid the other might pull away. But when Kate's arms went around my neck and she pressed closer, something broke open inside me. 6 months of rejection, of feeling invisible, of questioning my own worth. It all melted away in that moment. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard. Oh God, Kate whispered. What are we doing? I don't know, but I don't want to stop. She looked up at me, eyes bright with tears and something else. Hope, maybe. Your place or mine? She asked. Yours. Ed's out of town, right? Until Sunday. I followed her car through the quiet streets, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. I knew I was crossing a line I couldn't uncross. I knew this would complicate everything, potentially destroy everything. But for the first time in 6 months, I felt wanted, desired, human. Kate's apartment was warm and lived in, the opposite of my sterile house. She poured wine, but neither of us touched it. We sat on her couch, talking softly, the space between us charged with possibility and guilt. We don't have to do anything, Kate said. We can just talk. Is that what you want? No, but I want you to be sure. I want you to choose this, not just fall into it because you're lonely. I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman who saw me, who wanted me, who made me feel like myself again. I'm sure, I said. What happened next was everything my marriage hadn't been for 6 months. Tender, passionate, connected. Kate touched me like I was precious, looked at me like I was the only person in the world. For 2 hours, I remembered what it felt like to be desired. Afterward, lying in her bed, Kate traced patterns on my chest. I've wanted this for so long, she whispered. How long? Since your birthday party last year. You were so happy, so animated, telling that story about the raccoon in the Johnson's attic. Angela was on her phone the whole time, but I was watching you think, how does she not see how amazing he is? I pulled her closer. I should feel guilty. But you don't? I should. But mostly I feel alive. Good. You deserve to feel alive. I drove home at midnight, the taste of Kate still on my lips. Angela was asleep, curled on her side of the bed like always. I showered and slipped in beside her, careful not to wake her. But as I lay there in the dark, listening to her controlled breathing, I realized something had fundamentally changed. I wasn't the same man who'd left this house 6 hours ago. That man had been desperate, diminished, willing to accept crumbs of affection. This man, the man Kate had awakened, wanted more, deserved more, and one way or another, he was going to get it. 3 weeks into my affair with Kate, Angela found the earring. I was in the garage, organizing my tools after a long day fixing a commercial unit downtown, when I heard her heels clicking across the concrete floor. Sharp, staccato sounds like gunshots. Nate! Her voice was ice-cold fury. I turned around. Angela stood in the doorway holding a small silver hoop earring between her thumb and forefinger like it was contaminated. Found this in your truck, she said. My stomach dropped. Kate's earring. She'd lost it 2 nights ago when we'd parked by the lake after dinner, talking and kissing like teenagers. I thought we'd found both of them. I don't know what that is, I said, but the words sounded hollow even to me. Really? Because it looks exactly like the earrings Kate was wearing at my birthday dinner last month. Shit. Angela had always been observant when it suited her. Too bad she'd never applied that attention to her own marriage. Maybe it's from a customer. I give rides to people sometimes when their cars are in the shop. Cut the crap, Nate. Angela stepped into the garage, her eyes blazing. Are you sleeping with my best friend? The moment hung between us like a live wire. I could lie, try to salvage what was left of my marriage, or I could tell the truth and blow everything up. Are you sleeping with me? I shot back. What? You heard me. When's the last time you showed any interest in sleeping with your husband? When's the last time you touched me without flinching? When's the last time you acted like you even liked me? Angela's mouth opened and closed. This isn't about us. This is about you cheating on me with Kate. Is it cheating when your wife has already checked out of the marriage? When she treats you like a roommate who splits the bills? So, this is my fault? Her voice pitched higher. You're screwing my best friend, and it's my fault? It's both our faults. The words exploded out of me, 6 months of frustration and loneliness and rejection. You made a void, Angela. Kate filled it. By stealing my husband. By giving me what you wouldn't. Attention, affection, basic human warmth. Angela's face crumpled, then hardened again. Get out. What? Get out of my house. Now. It's my house, too. Not for long. She threw the earring at my feet. I'm calling my lawyer tomorrow. I want everything, Nate. The house, the savings, your truck, your tools, everything. Good luck with that. She stormed back into the house. 5 minutes later, I heard her on the phone with Kate screaming. You backstabbing woman. How could you do this to me? He's my husband. I couldn't hear Kate's response, but I could guess. Kate had been feeling guilty about the affair, but she'd also been angry at Angela for years. Watching her best friend take me for granted while Kate saw what I had to offer. The screaming match lasted 20 minutes. I sat in my truck, listening to Angela's voice carry through the open windows, and realized I felt relieved. The secret was out. The pretense was over. My phone buzzed, text from Kate. She knows. I'm sorry. I never meant for it to happen this way. I typed back. It was going to come out eventually. Are you okay? Ed's coming home early. Angela called him. This is going to get ugly. We'll figure it out. I love you, Nate. I stared at those 4 words. When was the last time Angela had said them? When was the last time she'd meant them? I love you, too. The next morning, Angela was gone before I woke up. She'd left divorce papers on the kitchen table, along with a note. I've retained Jennifer Walsh. Have your lawyer call her and find somewhere else to stay until this is settled. Jennifer Walsh. I knew that name, the shark who'd taken Marcus Henderson for everything in his divorce. Angela was serious about destroying me. I called in sick to work and spent the morning on the phone trying to find a lawyer I could afford. Finally, Marco recommended his cousin Tony, who worked out of a strip mall office but had a reputation for fighting dirty when necessary. She wants everything? Tony asked, reading through Angela's initial demands. Everything. The house, the savings, my truck, my tools. On what grounds? Adultery. Tony leaned back in his chair. Okay, here's the thing. Ohio is a no-fault state, which means adultery doesn't automatically give her everything, but it can influence the judge if she can prove you abandoned the marriage. I didn't abandon anything. She did. Can you prove that? I thought about it. Maybe. Kate might testify. She knows how Angela's been treating me. The woman you had the affair with, that's going to be a tough sell. What about witnesses? People who've seen how Angela acts around me? That could work? Anyone specific? I made a list. Marco, who'd watched Angela ignore me at barbecues. Our neighbors, who'd seen her brush off my attempts at affection. Even some of Angela's coworkers, who'd made comments about how cold she was. The divorce proceedings started 2 weeks later. Angela looked polished and professional in her navy suit, playing the role of the wronged wife perfectly. But when Kate took the stand, everything changed. How long have you known the defendant? Jennifer Walsh asked. 8 years, since college. And you've observed his marriage to my client during that time? Yes. Would you describe it as a happy marriage? Kate looked directly at Angela. Not for the past year, no. Can you elaborate? Angela complained about Nate constantly. She said he was needy, that he wanted too much attention. She told me she wasn't attracted to him anymore. Angela's face flushed red. Jennifer Walsh looked surprised. She told you she wasn't attracted to her husband? Multiple times. She said the spark was gone and she didn't know how to get it back. She also said she was considering divorce even before the affair started. Objection, Jennifer Walsh snapped. Sustained, the judge said, but the damage was done. Tony stood up for cross-examination. Miss Wallace, in your observation, how did Mr. Carter treat his wife? Like she was the most important person in the world. He brought her flowers, fixed things around the house, tried to plan date nights. She shot down everything. Did she ever reciprocate his affections? Not that I saw. She'd roll her eyes when he tried to hold her hand. She'd change the subject when he tried to talk about their relationship. She treated him like an annoying roommate. And how did this affect Mr. Carter? Kate's voice softened. He was dying inside. You could see it. He kept trying harder and harder, and she kept pulling further away. Is that when your relationship with him began? Yes, I felt sorry for him at first. Then I realized I was falling in love with a man who was already emotionally abandoned by his wife. The judge called a recess. In the hallway, Angela cornered Kate. How dare you? She hissed. I trusted you. I told you things in confidence. You told me you didn't want him anymore, Kate shot back. You complained about him constantly. What was I supposed to do, let him think he was worthless? You were supposed to be my friend. I was your friend. For 8 years I listened to you trash the best man either of us knew. I watched you take him for granted and treat him like garbage. Someone had to show him he was worth loving. By sleeping with him? By seeing him. Really seeing him. Something you stopped doing a long time ago. Angela slapped her. Right there in the courthouse hallway, in front of lawyers and clerks and other divorce petitioners. Kate didn't slap back. She just looked at Angela with something like pity. That's the most emotion you've shown about Nate in years, Kate said quietly. Security separated them before it could escalate further, but word spread fast. By the end of the week, everyone in Angela's office knew about the courthouse slapping incident. Her professional image took a hit. The judge ultimately split our assets down the middle, ruling that both parties had contributed to the marriage's breakdown. Angela got the house, but had to buy out my half. I got my truck, my tools, and half the savings. Neither of us got what we really wanted. She wanted to destroy me, I wanted vindication, but the real damage was social. Angela lost her best friend and her marriage in one spectacular explosion. Her coworkers whispered about her coldness, her inability to keep her husband happy. The courthouse slapping incident made her look unhinged. Kate lost her marriage too. Ed filed for divorce immediately, citing irreconcilable differences. But Kate seemed almost relieved. I've been unhappy for years, she told me as we packed up her apartment. At least now I'm free to be happy with someone who actually wants me. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, Kate and I moved in together. Angela had to sell the house, couldn't afford the payments on her own. She rented a small apartment across town, and according to mutual friends, she was struggling. She's dating again, Marco told me one afternoon as we worked on his Camaro. Some guy from her office. Good for her. Word is, it's not going well. Guy's married. I looked up from the engine. Seriously? Apparently she's the other woman now. Karma's A, huh? I should have felt satisfied. Angela was getting a taste of her own medicine, being the side piece, the secret, the one who got the scraps of someone's attention. But mostly I felt sorry for her. That changed when I found out what she'd been telling people about me. The lies started small, like they always do, a comment here, a whisper there, spread through Angela's network of coworkers and casual friends like a virus. I first heard about it from Mrs. Henderson, whose air conditioning I'd been servicing for 3 years. I'm sorry about your troubles, dear, she said as I replaced her filter, but I'm sure you'll find someone who appreciates you properly. I looked up from the unit. I'm sorry? Your divorce. Angela Walsh mentioned it at the grocery store. She said you'd been having problems for years. Angela Walsh. She'd gone back to her maiden name immediately after the divorce, like she was erasing me from her history. What exactly did she say? Mrs. Henderson looked uncomfortable. Oh, you know how these things go. She just mentioned that you'd grown apart, that you'd become difficult to live with. Difficult to live with. That was a new one. Did she mention anything else? Well, Mrs. Henderson glanced around like Angela might be hiding in her bushes. She did say you'd been drinking heavily, and that you'd become aggressive. My wrench slipped, scratching the metal housing. Aggressive? I'm sure she didn't mean anything by it. Divorces make people say things they don't mean. But Angela meant it. Over the next few weeks, I heard variations of the same story from different sources. I was a drunk, I was emotionally unstable, I was the reason the marriage failed. Angela, meanwhile, was the long-suffering wife who'd finally found the courage to leave her troubled husband. The worst part, some people believed it. You need to shut this down, Kate said when I told her about Mrs. Henderson. She's rewriting history to make herself look like the victim. How? Call everyone in town and explain my side? No. We make sure the truth comes out in a way people can't ignore. Kate had a devious streak I was still discovering. She'd been thinking about this problem longer than I had. What did you have in mind? Angela's weakness has always been her image. She needs people to see her as perfect, professional, put together. What if we showed them who she really is? I'm not going to lie about her. We don't need to lie. We just need to let people see the truth. The opportunity came 2 weeks later. Angela was dating Brad Morrison, a married account executive from her office. Kate had done some digging and discovered that Brad's wife had no idea about the affair. She's doing to another woman exactly what she accused us of doing to her, Kate pointed out. The hypocrisy is staggering. So what do we do about it? Kate smiled. We help Brad's wife understand why her husband's been working so much overtime lately. It was surprisingly easy. Kate called Morrison Accounting, asked for Brad, and when his secretary said he was in a meeting, Kate mentioned that she was calling about his lunch reservation at Romano's. Oh, he already made those plans with his wife, the secretary said helpfully. His wife Angela? I think so. Pretty blonde woman, works in insurance? Kate thanked her and hung up. Then she called Brad's actual wife, Susan Morrison. Hi, Mrs. Morrison. This is Kate Wallace. I work with your husband. I think there's something you should know about his lunch meetings with Angela Walsh. The confrontation happened at Romano's, right during the lunch rush. Susan Morrison walked into the restaurant and found her husband holding hands with Angela across a candlelit table. I know, because Kate and I were there, sitting 3 tables away, watching the show. Susan didn't make a scene. She was classier than that. She simply walked over to their table, set Brad's wedding ring down next to his wine glass, and said, When you're done playing house with your secretary's friend, your things will be on the front lawn. Then she left. Brad sat there, stunned, while Angela tried to explain. Other diners were staring. The whispers started immediately. By the end of the week, everyone at Morrison Accounting knew about Brad's affair. He was fired. The company had a strict policy about relationships that created conflicts of interest. Angela's reputation took another hit. She was now the woman who'd broken up a marriage just months after claiming her own marriage was destroyed by infidelity. But I wasn't done. Angela had spent months poisoning people against me, painting me as an unstable drunk. Time to show people what she was really like. The annual Riverside Insurance Company picnic was held at Brookside Park every September. Angela would be there, playing the part of the professional survivor, networking with her coworkers and their families. Kate and I showed up uninvited. What are you doing here? Angela hissed when she saw us by the food tables. It's a public park, I said. We're having a picnic. This is a private company event. Funny thing about public parks, anyone can use them. Angela's boss, Robert Chen, walked over. I'd met him a few times at Angela's work functions back when we were married. Nate, good to see you. How are you holding up? Better than expected, thanks. Kate's been a huge support. Robert looked confused. Kate? My girlfriend. We've been together since before the divorce was finalized. I watched Angela's face flush. She'd been telling people that Kate seduced me away from my happy marriage. The timeline I just suggested painted a different picture. Oh, Robert said. I thought... Well, Angela mentioned that your relationship started after... After what? Kate asked innocently. After Angela told me she wasn't attracted to Nate anymore and was thinking about divorce? That was months before we got together. Angela's mouth opened and closed like a fish. That's not... I never said... You said it multiple times, Kate continued. You complained about him constantly. You said the spark was gone and you didn't know how to fake it anymore. Other people were listening now. Angela's coworkers, their spouses, people who'd heard Angela's version of events. I was going through a difficult time, Angela said weakly. You were going through a marriage you didn't want with a man you didn't appreciate, Kate corrected, and now you're mad because someone else saw his value. Robert looked uncomfortable. Well, this is awkward. I should probably... Did you know Angela's dating again? I asked conversationally. Brad Morrison. Nice guy. Well, he was until his wife found out about the affair. Angela went pale. Nate, don't. Don't what? Don't mention that you're doing to Susan Morrison exactly what you accused Kate of doing to you? That seems relevant. That's different. How? Brad and Susan were already having problems. Kate laughed. Just like you and Nate were having problems. Funny how that works. The crowd around us was growing. Angela's carefully constructed image as the wronged wife was crumbling in real time. I think we should go, Angela said to Robert. Actually, I think I'll stay, Robert replied. This is fascinating. I had no idea about any of this context. Angela fled, literally ran to her car and drove away, leaving her coworkers to piece together the real story of her marriage and divorce. The next Monday, Kate heard through the grapevine that Angela had been called into HR, not to conduct a meeting, to be the subject of one. Her relationship with Brad had violated company policy, and her public meltdown at the picnic had embarrassed the firm. She was placed on administrative leave pending a review of her conduct. I almost feel bad for her, Kate said as we heard the news. Almost? Then I remember how she tried to destroy you, and the feeling passes. But Angela wasn't done fighting. If anything, losing her job made her more desperate, more dangerous. She'd lost her marriage, her best friend, her lover, and now her career. She had nothing left to lose, which made her next move both predictable and devastating. Angela's final gambit came on a Tuesday night in October, delivered through a Facebook message that made my blood run cold. I know what you did to me, and I know how to make you pay. Kate thinks she won, but she has no idea what's coming. Some secrets are worth more than others. Call me. I showed the message to Kate, who read it twice before looking up with worried eyes. What do you think she means? I don't know, but it can't be good. We found out the next day. Angela had spent weeks digging into Kate's past, looking for ammunition. What she found was a drunk driving incident from Kate's college years, a conviction that Kate had never mentioned to her employer at the marketing firm where she worked. The background check when Kate was hired had been cursory, focused mainly on credit and criminal history from the past 5 years. The DUI was 8 years old, and Kate hadn't lied about it. She just hadn't volunteered the information when it wasn't requested, but Angela made sure it became an issue. She called Kate's boss, David Park, and expressed concern about the company's hiring practices. As a former HR manager, she felt obligated to point out that they might want to review their background check procedures, especially regarding employees who worked with clients and had access to company vehicles. I'm not trying to cause trouble, Angela told David, according to Kate's coworker, who overheard the conversation. I just think you should know that Kate Wallace has a history of making poor decisions regarding alcohol and driving. David called Kate into his office that afternoon. Is it true you have a DUI conviction? He asked. Kate's face went white. Yes, but it was 8 years ago. I was in college, and I've never had another incident since then. Why didn't you mention it when we hired you? Because you didn't ask. The application asked about convictions in the past 5 years. But you drive company vehicles. You meet with clients. This creates a liability issue. David, you've known me for 3 years. Have I ever given you reason to question my judgment or professionalism? That's not the point. The point is we have a fiduciary duty to our clients and our insurance company. I'm sorry, Kate, but I have to let you go. Kate came home that afternoon in tears, carrying a box of her personal belongings. She got me fired, she sobbed. 8 years later, one stupid mistake I made in college, and she used it to destroy my career. I held her while she cried, fury building in my chest. Angela had crossed a line. This wasn't about our marriage anymore. This was about hurting an innocent person out of spite. We're going to fix this, I told Kate. How? She didn't lie. I do have a DUI. No one's going to hire me now. She may not have lied, but she manipulated the truth. There's a difference. That night, I called Marco. I need a favor. A big one. What kind of favor? The kind that involves Angela Walsh learning what it feels like to have her past weaponized against her. Marco was quiet for a moment. What do you need? Remember when Angela rear-ended that guy at the mall 3 years ago? The one she paid cash to avoid going through insurance? Yeah. She was texting while driving, right? Right. I need you to help me find that guy. His name was James something. Drove a blue Honda Civic. Why? Because Angela's been telling everyone I was an aggressive, unstable husband, but she's the one with the road rage problem. She's the one who screamed at that guy, called him an idiot, threatened to have him arrested for insurance fraud when he wanted to call the police. I remember. She was psycho that day. I think James might remember too, and I think he might be interested to know that the woman who verbally abused him is now unemployed and vulnerable to a civil suit. It took Marco 2 days to track down James Patterson. He worked at a tire shop across town and remembered the incident vividly. Crazy lady, he said when Marco brought up Angela's name. Screamed at me for 10 minutes, then tried to bribe me to keep quiet about it. I should have called the cops. Maybe it's not too late, Marco suggested. What do you mean? I mean, she's been going around town telling people my friend Nate was abusive and unstable during their marriage. But you and I both know who the real problem was. James nodded slowly. She was unhinged. Absolutely unhinged. Would you be willing to tell people that, if it came up? Hell yes. That woman owes me an apology. The opportunity came sooner than expected. Angela, desperate for income after losing her job, had started working part-time at a local real estate office. She was showing houses, trying to rebuild her career from the ground up. One of those houses belonged to James Patterson's neighbor, Mrs. Rodriguez, who was looking to downsize after her husband's death. When Angela showed up to conduct the showing, James happened to be outside working in his yard. He recognized her immediately. Hey, he called out. You're the psycho who rear-ended me at the mall. Angela froze on Mrs. Rodriguez's front porch. I'm sorry. I think you have me confused with someone else. No confusion. You're Angela Walsh. You hit my car, screamed at me, then paid me $500 cash to keep quiet about it. I've got the whole thing on my phone. Mrs. Rodriguez looked interested. You recorded it? Audio recording. She was threatening me, calling me names, acting completely unhinged. I started recording for my own protection. Angela's face went red. This is harassment. Harassment? Lady, you're the one who's been telling people your ex-husband was abusive. But I've seen how you act when you're angry. If anyone was abusive in that marriage, it was probably you. Mrs. Rodriguez stepped back from Angela. I think I'll use a different realtor. The story spread quickly through the neighborhood network. Angela's new boss at the real estate office heard about it within days. Her probationary employment was terminated immediately. But the real blow came when James decided to post the audio recording on social media. Found this old recording on my phone, he wrote. Lady rear-ended me 3 years ago and went absolutely psycho. Now she's trying to restart her career in real estate. Buyer beware. The recording was devastating. Angela's voice shrill with rage, calling James an idiot, threatening to have him arrested, accusing him of trying to scam her. The contrast between the calm, professional image she tried to project and the unhinged woman on the recording was stark. Within hours, the post had been shared dozens of times. Angela's phone number and email address were in the comments, along with warnings about her aggressive behavior and unstable personality. She called me that night, sobbing. Make it stop, she begged. Please, Nate, I'm sorry for everything. Just make it stop. Make what stop? The recording, the comments. People are calling me crazy. They're saying I'm dangerous. Sounds familiar, I said. Didn't you spend months telling people I was unstable and aggressive? That was different. How? I was hurt. I was angry. I said things I didn't mean. And now you're experiencing what it feels like to be on the receiving end. Angela was quiet for a long moment. What do you want from me? I want you to leave Kate and me alone. I want you to stop spreading lies about me, and I want you to understand that actions have consequences. I understand. I get it. Please, just help me make this stop. I can't make it stop, Angela. You created this situation when you decided to destroy Kate's career over a college mistake. You escalated this war, and now you're losing it. It's not a war, Nate. We were married. We loved each other once. Once. But you killed that love with your coldness and your cruelty. And then you tried to kill my reputation with your lies. Kate was collateral damage in your revenge fantasy. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. But this is destroying my life. Good, I said, and hung up. Kate found me on the back porch an hour later, staring at the stars. Was that Angela? Yeah. She wants me to help her clean up the mess she made. Are you going to? I thought about it. The old me, the man who'd spent months trying to fix a marriage that was already broken, might have felt sorry for her, might have tried to be the bigger person. But that man was gone. In his place was someone harder, someone who understood that sometimes the only way to stop a bully is to hit back harder than they hit you. No, I said. She made her choices. Now she gets to live with the consequences. Kate sat down beside me, taking my hand. I got a job offer today. Really? Where? Marketing firm in Columbus. It's a step up from my old position. Better pay, better benefits. That's great. When do you start? That's the thing. It's in Columbus, 2 hours away. My heart sank. So you're leaving. I'm asking if you want to come with me. I looked at her, this woman who'd seen me when I was invisible, who'd loved me when I felt unlovable, who'd stood by me through the ugliest divorce in recent memory. What about my business here? My clients? HVAC technicians work everywhere. You could start fresh, build something new. We both could. A fresh start. A new city where no one knew our history, where Angela's lies couldn't follow us, where we could just be happy without looking over our shoulders. When do we leave? Kate smiled. How about next month? Perfect. But Angela wasn't done with us yet. She had one more card to play, one final desperate gambit that would either destroy us completely or backfire spectacularly. I should have known she'd never go quietly. The moving truck was scheduled for Saturday morning, which meant Friday night was our last night in the house where my marriage had died and my new life had begun. Kate and I were packing the last of our belongings when the doorbell rang at 9:30 p.m. I looked through the peephole and saw Angela standing on my front porch, swaying slightly. She was drunk, not falling down drunk, but loose and reckless drunk. The kind of drunk that makes bad decisions seem brilliant. Don't answer it, Kate said from behind me. She'll just keep ringing. Then call the police. I considered it, but something in Angela's posture, defeated, desperate, made me hesitate. Maybe she was finally ready to accept that this war was over. Maybe she wanted to apologize, to end things on a civilized note. I should have listened to Kate. I opened the door but kept the chain latch engaged. What do you want, Angela? To talk. Please, Nate. 5 minutes. We have nothing to talk about. We have 8 years of marriage to talk about. We have the life we built together. We have... She swayed again, catching herself against the doorframe. We have history. History's in the past. I'm focused on the future now. With her. Angela's eyes found Kate, who'd moved to stand behind me. With my best friend who stole my husband. I didn't steal anything, Kate said quietly. I just appreciated what you threw away. Angela laughed, a bitter sound that held no humor. Appreciated. Is that what we're calling it now? Angela, you need to go home, I said. Sleep it off. Tomorrow we'll be gone and you can move on with your life. Move on? Angela's voice pitched higher. Move on to what? I lost my job because of you two. I lost my friends. I lost my reputation. I lost everything. You lost those things because of your own actions. I lost them because you turned everyone against me? We told the truth, Angela. That's not the same thing as turning people against you. The truth? Angela fumbled in her purse and pulled out her phone. You want to talk about truth? Let's talk about truth. She held up the phone, and I could see she was recording. For the record, she said, speaking clearly despite the alcohol, this is Angela Walsh, and I'm standing outside the home of my ex-husband Nate Carter and his girlfriend Kate Wallace. The home that used to be our home, before Kate seduced him away from me. Turn off the phone, Angela. Why? Afraid of what people might hear? Angela smiled, and there was something predatory in it. See, I've been thinking about this whole situation, and I realized something. You two have been very careful to control the narrative, very careful to make me look like the villain. You made yourself look like the villain, Kate said. Did I? Or did I just make some mistakes while I was grieving the end of my marriage? Angela stepped closer to the door, because that's what this was, you know. Grief. I was grieving the loss of the man I'd loved for 8 years, and instead of supporting me through that grief, he ran straight into the arms of my best friend. That's not what happened, I said. Isn't it? Let me ask you something, Nate. When did you first start having feelings for Kate? Before our marriage was over, or after? The question hung in the air like a trap, because the truth was complicated. I'd been attracted to Kate for years, had noticed her warmth and humor and the way she actually listened when I spoke, but I'd never acted on those feelings until after Angela had already checked out of our marriage. It doesn't matter when I started having feelings, I said finally. What matters is when I acted on them. After months of rejection from your wife, after months of being made to feel unwanted and undesirable. Angela nodded. I get it. I really do. But here's what I don't understand. Why didn't you try to fix our marriage instead of replacing me? I tried for 6 months to fix our marriage. You weren't interested. I was going through a difficult time. For 6 months? You were going through a difficult time for half a year, and instead of talking to me about it, you just shut down, shut me out, made me feel like I was the problem. Angela's composure cracked slightly. Maybe you were part of the problem. Maybe I was, but instead of working on it together, you decided I wasn't worth the effort. And Kate decided you were. Kate saw what you couldn't see anymore, that I was worth loving. Angela's face crumpled. I loved you. You had a funny way of showing it. I was scared. The words burst out of her. I was scared that we were becoming boring, that the spark was gone, that we were turning into one of those couples who just exist together without really living. I thought if I pulled back, if I created some space, maybe the wanting would come back. It was the first honest thing she'd said in months, and it hit me like a punch to the gut, because I understood that fear. I'd felt it too, in the months before everything fell apart. Why didn't you tell me that? I asked. Because I didn't know how. Because I was afraid that if I said it out loud, it would make it real. Kate stepped forward. So instead, you made Nate feel like he was worthless. You made him beg for scraps of affection. You turned your marriage into a cold war instead of having one honest conversation. I know, Angela screamed. I know I handled it wrong. I know I hurt him, but that doesn't give you the right to steal him from me. I didn't steal him. You threw him away and I picked him up. Angela lunged at the door, trying to push through the chain latch. You lying, backstabbing witch. I slammed the door shut and turned the deadbolt. Angela pounded on the wood, screaming. This isn't over. You think you can just walk away? You think you can destroy my life and then skip town? This isn't over. I called 911 while Angela continued her assault on the door. Kate was already on her phone, calling her brother, who lived across town. "Mike, it's Kate. Angela's at the house, and she's out of control. Can you come over? Bring Tom if he's available." Mike and Tom arrived just as the police did. Angela was still on the front porch, alternating between sobbing and screaming threats. She'd thrown a planter through my front window and was trying to kick down the door when Officer Martinez arrived. "Ma'am, I need you to step away from the door." "This is my house," Angela screamed. "They stole my husband and my house and my life." "Ma'am, according to the divorce decree, this property belongs to Mr. Carter. You're trespassing." "I lived here for 8 years. 8 years. And now you don't. I need you to calm down and step away from the property." Angela looked around wildly, taking in the police car, the neighbors who'd come out to watch the show, Mike and Tom flanking the driveway. Her phone was still recording, capturing every moment of her breakdown. "You're all against me," she said. "Every single one of you. You've all turned against me." "Angela," I said, opening the door now that the police were there. "This has to stop. We're leaving tomorrow. You'll never have to see us again. Just let it go." "Let it go?" Angela laughed hysterically. "Let it go? You destroyed my life and you want me to let it go?" "You destroyed your own life. We just stopped enabling it." Angela's face twisted with rage. She pulled back her arm like she was going to throw her phone at me, but Officer Martinez caught her wrist. "That's enough. Ma'am, you're under arrest for trespassing, destruction of property, and disturbing the peace." As Martinez cuffed her, Angela looked directly into her phone's camera. "This is what happens when you tell the truth about cheaters," she said. "They destroy you. They turn everyone against you. They make you look crazy for having normal human emotions. Ma'am, you need to stop talking." But Angela wasn't done. As Martinez led her to the patrol car, she continued her monologue for the camera. "Nate Carter is a cheater and a liar. Kate Wallace is a homewrecker and a whore. And everyone in this neighborhood is a coward for not standing up for what's right." The patrol car door slammed shut, cutting off her voice. Martinez walked over to me. "You want to press charges?" I looked at the broken window, the damaged planter, the flower bed that Angela had trampled in her rage. Then I looked at Kate, who was pale but resolute. "Yes," I said. "All of them. We'll need statements from both of you." It took 2 hours to give our statements and clean up the mess Angela had made. By the time the police left, it was after midnight. Kate and I sat on the couch, exhausted, surrounded by boxes and broken glass. "She posted the video," Kate said, looking at her phone. "The whole thing. Her breakdown, the arrest, everything." "How's it playing?" Kate scrolled through the comments. "Not well for her. People are calling her unhinged. Someone recognized her from the James Patterson recording and connected the dots. The general consensus seems to be that you dodged a bullet." I took her phone and watched the video. Angela's face was twisted with rage and alcohol, her voice shrill with desperation. She looked exactly like what she was, a woman who'd lost everything and was lashing out at anyone within reach. "I almost feel sorry for her," I said. "Almost?" "Then I remember that she tried to destroy your career over a college mistake, and the feeling passes." Kate leaned against me. "Is it over now?" "It's over. She's facing criminal charges, she has no job, no friends, no credibility. There's nothing left for her to attack us with. And we're leaving tomorrow. New city, new life, new beginning." Kate was quiet for a moment. "Do you think we'll be happy?" "I think we'll be happier than we've ever been. We've been through the worst of it, Kate. Everything from here on out is just living." The next morning, the moving truck arrived on schedule. As we loaded the last of our belongings, neighbors came by to say goodbye. Mrs. Henderson brought coffee and donuts. The Johnsons wished us luck. Even Mr. Peterson, who barely spoke to anyone, waved from his front yard. "You're good people," Mrs. Henderson said. "Don't let anyone tell you different." As we drove away from the house where my marriage had ended and my new life had begun, I felt something I hadn't experienced in over a year. Peace. Angela was behind us, literally and figuratively. Her final desperate gambit had backfired spectacularly, turning her into exactly what she'd tried to paint me as: unstable, aggressive, and alone. Kate reached over and took my hand as we merged onto the highway toward Columbus. "Any regrets?" she asked. I thought about it. 8 years of marriage, reduced to a series of legal documents and bitter confrontations. A woman I'd once loved, now facing criminal charges and social exile. The comfortable life I'd built, abandoned for an uncertain future. "None," I said. "You?" "Just one." "What's that?" Kate smiled. I wish I'd seen what you had to offer sooner. We could have saved ourselves a lot of pain. Maybe. Or maybe we needed to go through all of this to appreciate what we have now. Maybe? 2 hours later, we pulled into the driveway of our new house in Columbus, a small ranch with a big backyard and neighbors who didn't know our history. As we unloaded boxes and planned our new life, my phone buzzed with a text from Marco. Saw Angela's video. Holy shit, man. You really dodged a bullet there. She got fired from the real estate job, by the way. Video went viral in the local groups. No one's going to hire her now? I showed the text to Kate, who shook her head. She did it to herself, Kate said. Every single bit of it. I know, but it's still sad. It is sad, but it's not our responsibility to fix her life. We tried to end this civilly, and she chose to escalate it. She chose to make it public, to try to destroy us out of spite. The consequences are hers to bear. That night, as we lay in bed in our new house, Kate curled against my side, I thought about the journey that had brought us here, the loneliness and rejection that had nearly broken me, the affair that had saved me, the divorce that had freed me, the war that had hardened me, and finally, the peace that had healed me. Angela had wanted to destroy us, but instead, she'd given us something precious, the knowledge that we could survive anything together, that we were stronger than her lies, her manipulations, her desperate attempts at revenge. She'd wanted us to suffer, but we were happier than we'd ever been. She'd wanted us to fail, but we were building something beautiful together. She'd wanted us to regret our choices, but we'd never been more certain that we'd made the right ones. In trying to destroy us, Angela had only destroyed herself. And in her destruction, she'd given us the greatest gift of all, freedom from her toxicity, her bitterness, her need to drag everyone down to her level. We were free, we were happy, we were home. And that was the best revenge of all.